We're back, folks. Well, kind of, sort of, anyway. Soon to be
Yeah.
fully back, but still already somewhat back. My goodness, what an interesting time, Charlie, huh? What an intriguing time to be a professional wrestling fan, an AEW fan. We are here to review a Dynamite back home in Daly's place, a Dynamite that I think it's fair to say has caused some discussion today, some conversation. I don't know where this is going to go. I'm going to pull back the curtain, folks, and inform you all that Charlie and I agree we don't know if we like the show or not. So
Yes.
the ideal approach to a review, really, isn't it? Coming in completely blind as to what you think of it. But we're going to try our best. AO will be here shortly, probably 20, 30 minutes, he said. So we have that to look forward to. But firstly, Charlie, you're the one person who's actually on this show every week. So how are you this evening?
I'm doing great. I've had a really good week this week. It's been somewhat of a stressful week, but I've had a good week. My background is slightly different because I had to rearrange my entire bedroom because we had the council people in doing some work. But yeah, I'm excited to review this Dynamite because I have no idea what my thoughts are on it. So we're going to find out in real time whether I enjoyed AEW Dynamite last night.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Carry on, Chuck.
Yeah. But yeah, how are you, Joe, though? How you been?
I'm good. I don't know. I don't know where I'm at with this. I'm really intrigued. I think AO's gonna, as AO would, I think he's gonna be more bullish in his stance. That we're very British in that way. You know, I think we'll be swayed accordingly. But I think there's a lot to like on the show.
Yes.
I think I wouldn't say there's a lot to dislike. I would more say there was a lot to kind of go, like it was interesting more than bad. Does that make sense? Like it was kind of weird at times and quirky, but much to get into. Speaking of such, folks, because AO is not here yet, if you have some super chats that you've just been dying all day, I need to ask these super chats to the WrestlePurists.
Get your questions in.
Now is the time, right? Unless you're asking a question to AO, in which case, not the time. We'll wait half
We'll save those.
Yes. With that in mind, chat, let's get into the first couple. We'll see if any build up. If not, we'll get into things. Go for it.
Let's have a look. So, Anjam PN, $2 super chat, thank you. TK learned a lesson, Elite Gang or don't bang, hashtag EVP. When you're right, you're right. There was... We'll save this segment for when AO gets here because it's going to be very funny listening to him break it down, but my God.
You say break it down, and I think that's a fair description of what this requires because there are many moving pieces. Many moving pieces. It was quite the deal.
Yeah. Dimaz, this new Elite is going to be a generational run. The scenes when they beat down a sickly Kenny Omega next week. Bro, I had a conversation with a friend about this, like, before Dynamite, like, I think it was like the day before or like a couple of hours before or whatever. And I was like really against the idea of Kenny getting attacked next week. I was just like, nah, if it's real, they shouldn't do it. And then after last night, I was like, damn, I might have to concede this point.
Yeah, that feels like where they're going, right? It feels like where they're headed. I am intrigued by. I am slightly interested by like Kenny being a babyface sort of stand-in authority figure, which usually I would hate, but it feels so uncanny that I'm like kind of intrigued by it. You know, like how he would conduct himself in that role.
He's not a big promo guy, so it's like, how is this? Especially not as a babyface, and that's clearly what he's going to be coming back, right? Like they kicked him to the curb because he was out injured. Like, I don't know, it's going to be interesting.
It's also we'll fantasy book a little bit here for a second. Yeah. Do you feel like Hangman's going to be connected to? Because it feels like he's kind of the sleeping giant with this. Now, unless he could be wrestling Swerve at Double or Nothing for all we know, I'm kind of leaning towards that being Wembley now. Interestingly. So do you think he may be involved in this new Elite business coming up?
I think that probably it will end up that way. I don't know how. Don't get me wrong, I love the Elite, but I don't know how enthusiastic I am about that because it feels like every time that Hangman gets realigned with them, his character kind of stagnates. And that's not a knock on anything that the Elite do, because I love their storytelling. Clearly, this is how I ended up doing this sort of stuff, because I don't ever shut up about them. But I don't know, with there's so much potential with a heel Hangman that immediately going back to him in a faction, I don't know. I feel like it kind of limits on what they can do, but
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll completely swing it the other way, and they'll just pretend that he didn't turn heel. Like, I don't know what they're gonna have him do.
That's possible because, you know, they did the deal right where they said, like, we suspend Hangman and all of that good stuff. So, yeah, I think that's in play. I mean, again, we'll get into the segment itself later, but I think it has to be said. This review is almost irrelevant compared to the follow-up on the ending segment,
Yeah,
right? Immediate fall,
absolutely.
the follow-up will make or break this. That's the real thing to circle, but we will cover the segment itself nonetheless. We'll get to it.
Indeed, indeed. Shy-Town Spurs, $5 super chat, thank you. Last night brought out an element of chaos I think AEW could use more of on a consistent basis. Yeah,
Some truth to that,
I
yeah.
did like the chaos.
Yeah. I do think sometimes when people do kind of it used to be better talking points for AEW, they forget
Yeah,
how chaotic great AEW was. I actually think
yeah,
the same to Chi-Town's point in that that is part of the recipe. Um, one of the things with AEW and kind of when they do chaos is it very much becomes a case of how much you like the segments within that will then the gap becomes wider, right? Like
mm-hmm.
chaotic and the segments aren't hitting for you. That shit, it can be challenging, but I definitely agree that there's something to be said for the show feeling like anything can happen. That's important,
Yeah,
I think, any wrestling show.
absolutely. Yeah, I think like even with this episode, like the chaos was like very evident because of like there were segments that I was like, yeah, I'm super into this that like they've never done before, and then Jericho came on screen. Like it's a mixed bag. You get what you get.
Yeah, he's not really chaotic. The Big Bill thing was pretty chaotic. That's pretty, yeah.
I thought he was gonna boot him in the face. I was here for it. And then he was like, no, I was like, all right, we're just rerunning a fucking TNA gimmick, which I didn't know until the TNA guy tweeted about it. It's very
Well,
funny.
I didn't know until now, so
Oh my
what?
god, yeah. Apparently, this is like a whole rerun of a gimmick that, like, I think it was Brian Myers that did it, and he was literally called like the Learning Tree.
Well, that rules. Okay.
it's so funny. But yeah, unfortunately, we'll get into that later on as well. Anjan PN, another $2 super chat, thank you. Happy my goat's coming back. Sad he'll get killed.
And I'm telling you, I think there's a chance he survives. I really do. I think he may actually cut them off and be like, "I'm here now to run the place." I just got a feeling. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Have AEW ever done like a GM gimmick? Like, they haven't? No, this would be the first time.
The thing is, regardless of which way you go, you're kind of doing some semblance of authority figure, right? Because
yeah,
if he doesn't do it, the Elite are going to be running the show. So while they might not be GMs, they're going to. I mean, they're doing the EVP shtick. So
yeah,
I think by killing Tony like that, I think you kind of need some kind of authority. I mean, you don't want to overdo it, obviously, but it'll be intriguing. Like as we said earlier, Kenny doing that stuff would be hilarious. So I'd like to see it selfishly.
Yeah, I could get behind it just because I think it would be very funny. Him doing that just in like his fucking like the graphic tees and the shortsy where it could be very, very funny. Scott 279 Canadian #next strong. Yep. Did you see that Roddy tweeted that?
I did. It was the first thing that came to mind when I saw poor old T-Bone Tone out in the looking to the sky. I've never seen the man appear to be in such agony. It was extraordinary. Hopefully Roddy can help him out some, right? He's an expert in that regard. So.
He is. He had merch made about it, which is
he did.
Fucking hilarious. Rossi 499, incredible gimmick. Big Jack Perry back, the Elite, we jacking it, something like that, yeah.
Interesting persona for the chat right now. I'm not sure on that one.
Yeah.
I'm convinced it's the time, but fair. We'll proceed.
Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, I'm not sure that I would have, yeah. Chi-Town Spurs, $5 super chat again, thank you. The New Elite versus FTR, Trevor Lawrence, and William?
Yeah.
Stadium Stampede, all in 2024.
I believe that we have there an American football player and I was going to say soccer, but football, soccer, whatever the hell player there, I believe is what we're going for. Fulham and Jaguars being.
I see.
And FTR.
And AEW, of course.
Yes. Yeah. FTR there also is important.
Hmm,
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. I think Tony might get in there. He might
you know.
respond with a pile driver. I don't know. I think it's possible.
They're just gonna go into a conference room at Wembley Stadium, and he's gonna be in there, just fucking whack one of them with one of those big branded cups or something.
Look, we joke, but at this
There is
point, anything is possible.
possibility.
Tony's gonna hit a machine with Dax. I think maybe that's what's coming up. I don't know. Anything's
Oh,
possible.
fucking hell! Oh my god. Scott 279 Canadian again. Thank you very much. Found it strange Swerve came out only for a match. We'll get into that, but we agree. I think.
Yeah, so it's more complicated now that we know why they were saving the promo,
Yeah.
right? That's actually a really good idea. The deal on Saturday, for anyone who's not aware, he's going to be opening the show on Saturday because they are on immediately after the playoff game. There's not even a post show. Like the game will end and they'll go to wrestling, and the first thing people will see is Swerve. So it's a great idea. I think that still doesn't necessarily make this the right play for Swerve's first night as champ. I think there's still different ways to dress this up. But at least we know there was like a reason, I guess is the main thing to me. But we'll get to. I also think it would help if we were like in love with the match he had, which we wasn't necessarily, right? If it was good, not great. So we'll get to that here momentarily, folks. Up next, in fact.
Cool. Yeah. So just one more super chat for now. GN £2 super chat. NLD predictions for Sunday. I don't know what that means.
That is the North London derby. Chuck, our football teams or soccer teams are playing each other on Sunday. I'll do this for you. Your team's probably going to win, I feel. But, I don't have to be an expert on the matter. I feel pretty confident in that. I think it bodes well for my Tottenham Hotspur. But we shall see. We actually probably won't see. We're not going to do a review of that, I don't think, on WrestlePurists. But nonetheless, we are going to review AEW Dynamite. Last night, as I said, from dailies, we started with a kind of old school Nitro opening with the Elite arriving at the building. Okada manages to be funny in every one of these without really doing anything. Just how smug and overjoyed he looks at where he's landed. It does pop me. And then, of course, Jack was there, and security tried to stop Jack. And it was clear that there was business to be done. He was with the EVPs, and he was allowed for this particular occasion. He was allowed to walk in with them. How did you feel about? I mean, the segment is just a tiny thing here, but like they threaded this throughout the show. They had this.
They did.
They had one later where they announced it was going to be a the closing segment with Tony Khan. How do you feel about this as like a kind of it's an extra play call in the playbook, right, for AEW? This isn't something they've generally done historically. How do you feel about it?
I always enjoy when they do the running threads like throughout the episodes because it feels like they're actually building on something, and it's like you never know when these guys are going to show back up and cause chaos. Like they did a lot last summer actually with the Elite storyline when they were facing Blackpool Combat Club. But this segment was very funny, and Okada is probably the greatest heel in AEW right now just because he's fucking hilarious, but still like terrifying to get in the ring with. So not many can capture that sort of energy in wrestling these days. So
because he has such credibility with the audience, right? Like the AEW audience fully recognizes him as one of the great wrestlers ever. So he has that credibility and that kind of aura and respect level. But he's also kind of like having fun with the Young Bucks. But he's never the one who's being silly, right? He's like enjoying the silliness. So they kind of have protected his presence and aura. I think that's shown with the live reactions he's got. He's got massive reactions everywhere they've gone thus far. So yeah, it's good. I agree with you on the TV formatting part of it. I think there is something to be said for that. Now the next segment is really interesting in that regard because this one is where I think I would put in the category of interesting choice. Orange Cassidy's music hits. And I'd forgotten they'd announced this segment. I shouldn't have forgotten because the graphic for this segment was hilarious, but I just forgot. So I was like, I'm used to hearing Orange's music and him coming out and defending a belt in the opening match. His music hit, he didn't come out immediately, and then he was like thrown onto the ramp by the little small stage they have there at Dailies by Trent, and Trent was here to kind of get an answer, right? The ultimatum with what side is Chuck on. And I thought Trent did a good job with this and trying to get the people rolled up. And once Chuck came out, look, it's not breaking ground in terms of the content. We could have wrote this promo, right? Like, he was our mascot. We became his lackey. I mean, it's easy. but he delivered it pretty well. People care about this act. They liked this act, so therefore they care about them splitting up. And Chuck finally got his chance to say shit on AEW Dynamite, and
Yeah.
I think he said something like, did he say, "I've always thought you're a piece of shit," or did he say, I can't remember the exact.
It was just like, you know what, Trent? I've always thought you were a piece of shit.
Yeah, and then he hit Trent, and Excalibur sold this like it was, the mega powers exploding, as he should. It's the way to do professional wrestling. And I thought this was a good segment and the right location to do it, because Daly's is like the perfect spot, especially with what they're setting up, which we'll get to in a second. I have to be honest though, Chuck, I was fascinated by this being the leading segment of the show after that. Yeah. Okay, go for it. It wasn't just me.
The first like 7 minutes of Dynamite, I was like, what the fuck is going on? And not because anything bad happened. It was just that, okay, we're starting with the Elite and Jack Perry coming in. And then Orange Cassidy's music hits, and I'm like, well, he's not the Elite. Like, I was very confused. The segment itself, I thought, was pretty good.
Me too.
And doing it they did a lot with the Jacksonville, like being in Jacksonville in terms of storyline in a lot of segments, which I think was a very smart play actually, and something they should lean into more now that they've built up a history of going to specific places. And like the best friends, they've been such a like intrinsic part of AEW since day one, really. So it was a very good play call for that. And I'm excited for the match that they've set up, because the last one was really fucking good. So yeah. It was just a very funny setup going from the Elite to them, and like I was like, we have a new world champion. That was like my main issue with the way this was thing. It was like, like we have a new world champion, and God bless, I love best friends, but you're not them. Like,
right. I actually also think it would have helped them to go later in the show, because one of the big headlines coming out of the show should be, you got to watch Rampage this weekend.
Yes.
Because anyone who's seen what these guys have done in these matches before, I mean, we said it straight away when they were doing this angle, they're going to have a bloodbath. We didn't necessarily see this. We should have with dailies on the calendar. But, I mean, this match is going to be awesome. I'll be watching, no doubt.
Absolutely.
I just think, weirdly, not only was it a strange twist for the show to lead with this, if they put this later in the show, it's at the front of our minds when the show goes off, I need to watch Rampage, which wasn't really the case necessarily. But, again, the segment was good. I think... So do you think Orange and Trent is the double or nothing match? Do you think that's what they're going to do in Vegas?
Yes. And
that'll
I think this is
be a step too, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because we talked about it, I think, last week, me and Monty, that we were saying that we didn't think they'd be able to stretch the storyline that far. But doing this parking lot brawl match with Chuck and Trent, it means that they've got like more to go off of, because of something could happen in this that's going to lead to like they ended up doing like Trent's got to find a tag partner for a tag match in like 2 weeks or whatever. It's probably going to be Rocky Romero, because of course it will be. There's a lot more to it. Like when you really like think about the type of faction that Best Friends is and the amount of history they have with people in the roster, there's a lot they could dig into. So I will accept the fact that I was wrong on where the Orange Cassidy Trent match will happen. I think they should do it a double or nothing with a stip.
Yeah. So do you think I think Rocky may be the finish on Rampage. I think he may help Trent. It feels like the play, and then you do the tag you just mentioned. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm intrigued how Trent does. I think he's earned a shot at this with how consistent he's been, how reliable he's been as like a kind of mid-card babyface who really didn't win a lot on TV, but he was so good for them. Where is your current excitement level at on the Trent heel, kind of singles heel run? Where are you at right now?
I'm excited about this match because I feel like there's a lot that like this feud, because there's a lot they can do with it. I think my excitement will depend on whether he beats Orange Cassidy or not, to be honest, which is not fair to Orange Cassidy because he's a great talent. But if you turn someone new heel and they immediately lose their first feud, I'm like, I know what this is going to be. I know what slot you're going into now. But if he wins the match, I'll be like, oh shit, Trent might actually be a real player on the roster right now. So I'm kind of holding judgment on that front at the moment. But I'm excited for this feud.
Yeah, I think the feud will be killer. Absolutely. We then went backstage for a John Moxley promo that was this was old
Very
school
Daily's place.
AEW. Yeah, this was very world champ Mox at Daily's Place, pandemic, like, because
Mhm.
all of his title matches would come with these pre-tape promos, right? All of them. And he
Yeah,
would like tell us a specific story, paint a certain picture. And he did that here. This was when I first noticed, and we can't even really speak to this fully, Chuck, but this was when I thought the fight audio was pretty bad because he was echoing his promo.
yeah.
Then I was informed that apparently we had the good audio. So I don't.
Yeah. I saw tweets about like, oh, the international audio's got to be better than what we're doing with right now. I was just like, I can't hear the crowd. Like, I could
Yeah,
not hear the crowd for the first
it
20
was.
minutes.
Yeah, I think they did fix our. I think is what happened.
They
I
did.
could be wrong. Yeah,
They fixed during the Fletcher Swerve match because of suddenly I could hear the Swerve House's chants where I couldn't before.
got you. Yeah, because it was a problem in this Mox promo. It seemed to be a good promo.
Yeah.
What I made out of it, Charlie, was very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I listened to it. I re-listened to it earlier. I was just like, okay, there was actually like good content in here, but yeah, they really screwed over the audio on this thing on this show. It was kind of bad.
Mhm. Yeah, I can only. I heard from our American friends it was a real issue, especially on
Yeah.
TBS. Folks, we hope you're enjoying this thus far. If you are, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, all those good things. Before we get to our first match, Chuck, go for it with these couple of super chats we've got.
So, and Jampion, another $2 super chat. Thank you. That bro fella knows a thing or two about graps. I'm going to assume you're talking about Billy Goat, Mr. Will Ospreay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, he knows a thing or two about graps. It's pretty good.
He's quite good at them. Yeah, I don't know how much he knows about them, but he's good.
I can't guarantee that there's any thoughts in that brain, but my God, when he gets in the ring.
There's not always a correlation between what they know about it and what they can execute with it. But no, he's spectacular. We're going to get to him. That was my favorite film on the show, actually. So yeah,
Me
absolutely.
too.
Yeah,
we will get to that. Bam, $5 super chat. Thank you. Many are saying that Monty ended on Purist because he feared they would do what the Elite did to TK last night to him. Charlie, Joe, goat emoji, flags, and the night guys. I don't know why I did that, but
what are they called, those fellas?
The British Guard? I don't know, something like that, I think. I was going to ask chat, are there any Brits in chat? I don't know.
This is so us that we wouldn't know this at all. Like the worst possible people to ask about something like this. Okay, all right.
I appreciate the super chat though.
Yes, very much. I've heard the same story about Monty and Purist, so it's probably true, right? I'd imagine. Beef eaters, that's right, Chuck. They're beef eaters.
Oh, they're beef eaters. That doesn't make sense. I think the British Guard makes more sense.
We could just say it's that if you want. I don't know. I'm not attached to it.
Beef. Yeah. That is. I've never thought to even look that up. Anyways, the wrestling. That is what happens.
We're not famed for our patriotism, Chuck and I, folks. You get what you get. All right. Cole Fletcher, Swerve Strickland, first match of the night.
Yes.
Prince Nana did do they had like the little extra wrinkle to the entrance where it was like, stand for your new world champion, which was cool. I thought Swerve looked like visually, I thought his gear, the bell, I thought he looked the real deal. How he looked terrific. And Kyle appears to be finding something more resembling a look he may keep for a long time. Because at times he has had looks where it's like, I'm not going to see that one again, Yeah, I thought he looked closer to a sustainable norm here. So good for Kyle Fletcher. Don Callis on commentary, and that was part of the story here. That was actually a big part of the finish. And they had a decent match. Had flashes of really exciting action.
Yeah.
But didn't quite come together at the level of Kyle's other big-time singles showings in AEW. Is the way I would probably describe it, Joe. I think we're in a similar spot on this, right?
Yeah, I do agree. For anyone that doesn't know, this isn't the first time they've shared a ring. They wrestled in a warehouse in Wolverhampton for Fight Club Pro in a 6-man tag. Don't ask why I know these things off the top of my head, but yeah. And I think they have really great chemistry, but they couldn't decide if they wanted to wrestle the sort of match they would have had in the past or the sort of match that they can have now with where they are like currently as wrestlers. I didn't love it. there was parts that I did really like there was like the fucking swerve stomp at the end and that like Carl sold it like he died, but that's just a credit to Carl because Carl always sells like he's just been killed by a move. It's very scary to watch him wrestle live sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. I thought the angle was really interesting where Don Callis like, what did they call it, like the Melbourne or something? And
he said like Melbourne. It was like a play call he yelled out.
Yeah. And then Carl was just like, "No, I'm not going to do that," and cost him the win or whatever. So it's interesting to see that Carl's actually kind of rebelling against Don Callis right now. I wasn't convinced that he would turn with Ospreay, but now that they've got me thinking that when Ospreay breaks away, he's taking Carl with him. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I don't know. There was, I don't know whether it happened in picture for the US audience, but there was a part where Swerve was just like chatting to a woman front row as well. I was like, I don't know what's going on anymore.
What happened was, from what I understood, someone was on their phone in the front row, and Swerve had some fun with that. And then the crowd chanted, "Get her number." And then he had more fun with it. Yeah. And everyone, like, it became like a little kind of scene within itself to the side of the ring. It was very funny. Yeah. It was fun.
It was very funny. But
it's a good way to, when you're in picture, it's a good way to keep the people reacting so that when you come back, they're into it rather than just sitting there, right? So I think Swerve, in terms of his work, I think he's still figuring out how this character wrestles as a babyface. I think he's kind of saying that he's still kind of trying now, and I think that showed here. But I'm intrigued. So, what do you think? Just gut feeling. Do you think like Kyle does go with Ospreay? Or do you think that's a twist in the story eventually that he picks Don over Will?
I think that Kyle does go with Ospreay, and Ospreay is going to do the US version of United Empire. I think that's possibly what's going to happen here. I do think it'd be more interesting if Kyle swerved him, though. And don't get me wrong, big United Empire girly. I was shouting that before it became popular. But I don't know. I think there's some real heat to them as rivals rather than friends at the moment.
Do you think the direction they take may be reliant on Mark Davis' status? Because to me, if Mark gets back, them as a babyface trio is like exciting.
It's money.
Yeah, that's great. And I think it would be good for the tag division to have like a hot babyface team. But we shall see. Also announced during this match, or I think it was maybe announced later, but it's relevant here, is that next week, the wording on this was very interesting. It said next week, Swerve's Double or Nothing opponent will be revealed, I think they said, right? It's obviously decided who it is. This isn't going to be something people are debating or contending for. Someone's got the match,
Someone's got the match, and I don't know. I genuinely have no idea who this could be. Like, we've been saying Christian for his first opponent.
Yeah, but this.
Do you think maybe Max is coming back?
See, this is the thing. This phrasing to me suggests either Hangman or Max. Hangman, because the last time we saw him, he was involved in the world title thing with Swerve. Max, because the last time we saw him, he was losing the world's title. Christian was my pick, but I don't know if he would be. I don't know if you'd phrase it as because he would like have to get his shot, wouldn't he? He'd have to like shit talk his way into getting a title shot. Maybe it's just the way they put the graphic and I'm overthinking it. Chat said they're in Canada, so I'm thinking Christian Cage. Folks, we've been joined not by Christian Cage, much better. We're joined by AO back. It's been too long, man. We haven't done one of these shows.
It has been too long. I apologize for my tardiness. Couldn't be helped. Let Monty know about it last night, but we here. Let me send a tweet out saying that I've joined. What are we talking about?
We are currently trying to figure out Swerve's Double or Nothing opponent. We're a bit of a loss, to be honest.
By process of elimination, I think it's either Roosh or Christian. But
we didn't consider Roosh.
Just based off the fact that TK has never main evented a luchador on a pay-per-view before, I think it's Christian Cage. I think we're going with Big Double C.
I mean, I'm into it, right? I think for folks who haven't seen it, I really recommend Swerve's podcast with Christian. It was great.
It's really good.
You could tell that's someone that Swerve, like, he picks his brain, right? I think they'd probably have an incredible match. And I think it would help Swerve work and wrestle as a babyface too. So, yeah, I'm into the Christian idea, Chuck. I think you are too, right?
Yeah, I'm very into the Christian idea. It makes sense to have him have another feud before they go to the Copeland tag team stuff that's obviously happening because of their tagging together All In, obviously. But yeah, and it's a formidable opponent for Swerve. It's not going to hurt Christian to take a loss at a pay-per-view.
For sure.
And I think that the promos, the promo potential here is incredible stuff. So
yeah,
I want to see it.
I think that's what I want, I think, personally speaking. I think that's where I'm at. Hey, I'm intrigued before we move on, mate. What did you think of Kyle and Swerve?
I liked it. I wish I fucking watched the fight feed originally, because they actually worked during the commercial break and shit. You know how some people just they just grab a hold and shit. But they worked during the break. It was a good match. I like what I seen out of Fletcher. I know he's not a worldwide favorite, Joe. But I think you have to remember that he's coming along, bro. Like when he gets in there with these guys, he hangs in there, bro.
Yeah. Good wrestler. I'm trying to figure out the hair. That's the thing. I'm trying to.
No, the hair is deeply unfortunate. People are asking if Swerve's parents are. Swerve's dad is alive.
Okay.
Fortunate for Swerve, unfortunate for the feud.
I was gonna say credit for not saying unfortunately there, because that would have been unfortunate. Yeah, as I get older, I'm more and more reliant on just, does he have a good haircut? You know.
He's finally got into a good shade of blonde, but the fucking cut is insane. Where is the best? It's not faded in.
I'll say this, Chuck. I think it's the best it's been. I think we're taking positive steps.
Yes, when he first bleached it, oh my god, there was a lot happening.
He's a good wrestler, all bullshit aside. All right.
Yes.
Up next, we went backstage. Thunder Rosa promo.
Real quick, thank God he fucking ditched the shoulder pads and the cape, bro. That was crazy. That was the fucking that original haircut he had, bro. I liked him as like a young prospect, but when like Monty Ibu and Joe would be like, I don't know about this kid. Like, what am I supposed to say, bro? Look at this fucking kid. Like, look at this guy. Different strokes.
He had the Will Hunting haircut, right?
That shit was crazy.
Yeah, it was. Backstage, Thunder Rosa, fresh off a strong performance on Sunday. She had a little promo here, and she pretty much blamed Deonna, right? Was the direction there, and Deonna then interrupted. They yelled for a moment, and they will be wrestling on Rampage, which was like a pretty quick escalation. Rampage, another match that's like substantial for Rampage. Do we think this is where Deonna actually turns heel? Is that what we're thinking?
Yes. I hope.
I think so. I think they've got as much as they could out of this babyface Deonna run. Yeah. I think like her being a heel is just better for her, like the content that she's gonna produce on TV, but also it's gonna be better for her on like the card. There's not a lot of like you look at it. We got Serena, Mercedes is gonna turn soon. Deonna's gonna turn soon. Tony's the heel. She's a champ, but like it's she gets treated like a baby face, really. And then you got the Spooky Swiss sisters. So it's like there's a real imbalance and shit. So I feel like she'll do better as a heel. She works better as a heel too.
For sure. The whole gimmick works better, right? It's just that's a heel gimmick. I think that will help her. And also, Chuck, I think it's like a good time to be hopeful that Thunder Rosa can kind of, if she can be the wrestler she was on Sunday consistently, that's a huge help to the division, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the women's division, they slotted some interesting things into place on this episode, and this was one of them. Doing a spin-off with Thunder and Deonna, like as its own little mini feud, like away from the title, is a very good thing for the division because you don't get a whole lot of that with the women. I think that a lot of exciting things are going to be happening just based off of this episode and things that were going on with the women this episode. I'm excited for what they've got going on this pay-per-view cycle.
Yeah, they had a whole like block of Dynamite here because you had that segment, which then went into Anna Jay and Mina Shirakawa, and then there was a post match, and then there was a Mercedes segment. So we'll stop on the Mina match and talk about it. Mina immediately will get over with these audiences. I think that's been apparent already. This was smart in that they had like a trial. They had a match on Ring of Honor, right? Like that's a good use of. It's like, okay, they've worked together once now, so they have a little, they're kind of comfortable with each other. I thought this was decent. Like Anna she's been better this year. I don't want to be like dramatic about it because I honestly think you can be like patronizing, right? At some point, but like she looks a lot more like she belongs than she did last year. And I thought Mina had a good showcase. So that's where I was at, Chuck. What did you think?
I am pretty much in the same place. I think that Anna looked decent out there, and Mina is getting over with these AEW crowds, which is only a good thing if they're going to keep bringing in Stardom talent on the build to Forbidden Door, because that's what it feels like where this is all going. Like there's going to be a big match at the joint pay-per-view. So I'm really happy that Mina got a proper reaction this week. Shout out Daily's Place for that. And yeah, pretty decent stuff from the women. And I'm glad that Mariah didn't actually get involved, and they did just have a wrestling match.
Yeah, and this, as I mentioned, bled into a post match, and we'll get to Serena Deeb, which was another one of those interesting choice. We'll get there. What did you think of the match?
I liked it a lot. Well, a lot's probably overselling, but I liked it. Anna Jay, she's some of it's product of her being in there with pros and not us getting Anna Jay versus Sky Blue and Anna Jay versus fucking. Who else did they fucking used to throw? They used to throw in there fucking Julia Hart and shit like that. It's like, bro, you're not helping her. You're not helping her opponent. You're not helping the audience enjoy this shit. But yeah, she's been on a nice little run of decent TV matches. Mina getting a proper reaction was great to see. I don't know if that was because the AEW audience is just more used to her now, or if she would have got this reaction in Daily's Place anyway, because they did fucking debut her in fucking West Virginia.
That crowd was terrible.
And the crowd was terrible all fucking night. But it was enjoyable to see Mina get recognizable support on the world stage. It's great to see for the long time King AO followers. I'm a big fan. Every single one of my go live tweets for a podcast used to involve Mina in one way or another. You used to pop the boys. Joe used to hit me up 17 hours before the podcast, and he'd be like, "Yo, what Mina picture you dropping this week, bro? Please, what Mina picture you dropping?" I was like, Joe, you know I'm booked for tomorrow. It got to be a real issue when he was hitting me up 3 days before a podcast, but I've slowed down on the gimmick. Might bring it back, but yeah, we love Mina over here. I was glad to see that she had a good showing yesterday.
Me too. That went in many directions. I can only respect it. So post match, as I said, Toni Storm made a babyface save here. So I think to our prior conversation, she's really at this point a heel babyface. She's just timeless Toni Storm, right? I mean, that's really where she's at as a character, which I think will help her matches, honestly. And then Serena Deeb arrived and took a seat and just talked to us at home here on the camera, and I feel like she could have said this on a microphone. I don't know. It's made me a little bit uncomfortable, Charlie. I mean, this was very up close and personal, wasn't it? I mean, this is a wrestling show. Can we look at a mic or something?
It was. I don't know why she was just cutting it to the camera. It's just the audio is fucked anyways. So the US crowd ain't got no idea that she's challenging for this belt. But I don't know. It was. I don't hate Serena being in this role. I really like the fact that they're involving fresh faces in the world title scene, and that is, again, only good things for the women on this show. But this segment was kind of crazy. I don't think she necessarily cut a bad promo, but the live crowd probably wanted to hear it.
Yeah. It was more that it was placed after stuff that was specifically for the live crowd. So they did a run-in, and then it was just a bit weird. I'm totally with you on I'm happy to see Serena doing anything of no one too. I think her matches are great. So I'm thrilled to see her in this spot. Just weird execution, right? Slightly strange.
Yeah, it was weird. Somebody brought up that it seems like Yuka has a serious injury now because they're pivoting what Serena's doing. But I'm glad to see that Yuka getting injured didn't like just fucking put Serena on the bench for 3 months because women's division of old, so like, oh well, we tried with Serena, but her opponent got injured. Let's circle back around to this in August. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Serena's belt to belt. I'm glad to see her mix it up with anybody. Her versus a timeless Toni Storm that actually like works and with pace and isn't doing like holds and bits is definitely something that I'm interested in seeing.
Her against Mariah could be really fucking good.
Yeah.
Build up.
That
sounds like a collision match.
Mariah's been good against pretty much anyone thus far. She's been so impressive as a TV wrestler. So yeah, I'm absolutely with you. I'd definitely like to see Mariah wrestle both of the women that was in the next segment and Chris for that matter. She wrestled Stokely halfway too. Next, we had Willow's big, title celebration here. Caprice Coleman was in the house for this, which was fucking awesome. I wish he'd have stayed, honestly, but he was there. It was fun. And Stokely, and it's great that Stokely has got like an actual role on the TV show because you can see him getting more comfortable when he's not having to try as hard. He's actually just being himself, and as himself, he's hilarious, right? Like, so I thought this segment was probably the best thing they've done yet for this Willow Mercedes match. They've pretty much been building for a month now. I'm not here to tell you it's a classic segment or this home run, but I thought it was a step in the right direction. Mercedes interrupted Willow again. She leaned very heavily heel. And we actually got a little bit of depth on the beef, and they kind of, just filled in the gaps a little bit on why this is going to be a feud and why this is like an issue for Mercedes in particular. Willow then as a babyface got to fire up at the end and cut a big babyface promo. So I thought this went pretty well. What did you make of the big Mercedes and Willow segment?
I fucking love this, bro. Like when I ripped my shirt off when Willow was cutting that promo, bro. Like that's a fucking babyface promo, bro. Like, that was amazing. And it was like Marcus pointed it out yesterday, but that was the most comfortable and like human Mercedes came across on the mic yet. Like she seemed more of like a character in AEW as opposed to like a guest star. That's like the that's a criticism people have had with Mercedes. Just like, she doesn't really seem like she fits so far, but like she came across really well and like part of the team last night. I guess I'm trying to say, but I fucking love that segment, bro. It was like people wanted this Mercedes feud to help make Willow a star, win or lose, and I think segments like that last night are a step in the right direction, a big step in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree, and this was they took a big step in terms of like who was the person who attacked her, which it has to be said the way they did that angle was not. They didn't do a great deal to get people interested, but if you tell the story and just simply get across it's a mystery, people will get interested in it, So I'm glad they got that in there and like they achieved some stuff here, Chuck. This was good, right?
They did. I'm glad that Willow had like a couple of minutes to like do her promo and have her moment as champion in the ring, because Daily's Place is a special place for her. Like she highlighted it when she was talking. Like that's where she got her All Elite graphic, like back in 2022. So I know it's special to a lot of wrestlers, but I'm glad when they play into it, like with things like this. And Mercedes, bro, they need to cement this heel turn because she looked so comfortable in the ring yesterday, just being devious and like being a bit of a bitch to Willow, because that's the best sort of character that she plays. And I think that them leaning into the whole "did she injure me on purpose" last year thing is really fucking good, because like you shouldn't shy away from things like that, and if you can use them as a story vehicle, great. And Chris Statlander grabbing her, then Mercedes hitting Willow at the end. I think that Chris Stat turn is coming still, I think. And it's going to be interesting to see if they use that as why Willow loses at Double or Nothing, like if she does lose, or if they do it before that. Like, I'm interested to see how that plays into it all. But yeah, this was great stuff all around for all the women involved.
That's the big question, right? Because it's like, if you just look at Willow and Mercedes, to me, the finish at Double or Nothing would be Mercedes cements a heel turn by cheating to win at Double or Nothing. That's the way but this isn't just in a vacuum, right? And with Chris, it feels like Chris is going to be making that turn too. So it's like, I'm really
I like them together, honestly.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested by that.
CEO
too,
Mercedes with her enforcer Chris Stat. That's TV right
you
there.
could do a deal where, especially with how the angle came off, you could absolutely do a deal where the attack, quote unquote, was a ruse. And it was just Mercedes fucking with Willow, you know? You could tell you, because it would be believable, right? Like, the only person there was Marvez, and you don't know shit, you don't see anything, you know? So you could pull that off easily. I think the big thing here is, this is the kind of angle where it's like, they have my attention with where they're going. I just hope their destination is like clear and makes sense, right? Because the one thing we don't want is to be reviewing Double or Nothing and be like, this Mercedes and Willow match was going well until it became about a heel turn with Chris Statlander and it overshadows everything. So hopefully they have a clear kind of layout of where this is going, because look, in an ideal world, this match can main event Double or Nothing. This is a big match. Big match. Absolutely. So I'm excited to see where they take it and how high it climbs, I guess, on the card. But Chuck, it appears we have a couple of super chats loaded up, so go for it. Take it away.
Let's have a look. I almost just ended the stream. Good God. It's like, enough. The weekly steel chair, £5 super chat. Thank you. I think Carl Fletcher under Callis orders uses the Tiger Driver 91 to kick Will out, or Takeshita does it. The Tiger Driver makes a great story here. It does. We'll get to it, but they really played into it in that gauntlet, whatever the fuck match. And it was a real story vehicle for him, which again, is really good things. I love things like this. Yeah,
I think that's actually a good prediction. I think it may be Takeshita, but then again, Kyle does make more sense because he was in this segment. Yeah, that would be they definitely have something in mind for the Tiger Driver. That's very apparent, right? They've emphasized it. So good call.
Indeed. Chi-Town Spurs, $5 super chat again. Thank you. Will this Deonna Thunder feud lead to Britt's return? Oh shit. Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Or she could be the person who attacked Mercedes, and then we all pray.
Could you fucking
WrestlePurists exclusive. DMD was at Dynamite last night, so
it's gotta be soon, right? It's been a long time. Like,
it has been a very long time.
Yeah.
I actually don't remember last time she was on TV.
She had star power, right? I mean, that goes without saying. She certainly had star power. I don't think any of us were like enthralled with where the DMD character was at by the end of her last run, but maybe. I don't know, we'll see.
Maybe. I can't believe that's quite like an obvious conclusion to come to, and none of us thought of it.
No. Wonder why.
And Champion, another $2 super chat. Thank you very much. Us Jackers are thriving. #, we jacking it. # Punk Cry Me a River. You know,
talking that shit, bro.
Jackers.
I don't disagree. Having to read that out.
It's just me and Joe just out here jacking it, bro. He's thinking of changing his at name to Jacker Joe. He's thinking of changing. He's thinking of changing the Late Night Grin to Late Night Jack. Like he's all in on this jacking business, bro. And I support him, bro. When I seen Jack Perry get out of that fucking Denali, whatever the fuck they fucking drove up to the arena in, bro. I said, oh my God. Joe was over there sweating, fucking fanning himself and shit. I said, calm down, bro. We still got 2 hours of showtime left.
Oh my God. Dude, Late Night Grin sounds pervert enough without changing the name. Speaking of such, tie this full circle, I think we've told you the story, but Jay Shell once did exactly what you almost just did. We were like 20 minutes into a Late Night Grin and she wanted to leave and she just ended the entire show. we were sitting there, so shout out to Jay Shell. She's absolutely not.
Shout out to Jay Shell.
Shout out to Jay Shell. She may be making a WrestlePurists channel appearance soon.
I have a feeling I know what show. I don't think it's worldwide, so I like to hear that. All right. Speaking of jacking it, Jack Perry is here, and he's this was the deal where Marvez, the aforementioned Alex Marvez, asked every member of the Elite for the scoop. That is his value. Like, I want to be clear, I wasn't dunking him when I said his value is he's the guy that all the wrestlers can poke fun at, right? You don't
treat like a fucking schmuck backstage.
Yeah, because Renee is like, she's the one with some credibility and authority.
Yeah.
It's a good shtick they have here, and the announcement, which I must admit horrified me at the moment, was Tony Khan is going to meet with Jack Perry tonight in the ring, and I thought, oh my God,
I didn't know what to think, bro. I didn't know what to think. Because
I was very
like there's an alternate universe here where Jack Perry and Tony Khan like exchange like lines on the mic for 5 minutes.
Terrifying. That is, when you consider that's the best way to appreciate the segment they actually did, right? Like that's the best way to think of it. Is imagine what it could have been. So we'll get to it. But again, we mentioned earlier, threading it throughout the show. It makes sense and it's smart. So up next, we have my actual favorite thing on the show, the Casino Gauntlet. Now, before we get into it, I don't know if they did the best job of explaining or setting the stage for this.
No, it didn't.
In a weird
it's kind of
way,
AEW's gimmick at this point.
Yeah, and in a weird way, it kind of worked in the match's favor because it allowed it to like kind of ambush you with just crazy shit. Right? It was kind of like if they advertised it, we'd have all fantasy booked this a million times. It was just, this was chaotic in the best way, I thought. So in this match, I think this is in order. We had Jay White, Dante Martin, we had Penta, who was in rare Penta form in this one, folks. We had Kyle O'Reilly with a new haircut, Will Ospreay, which was the big surprise, Lance Archer, Commander, Jay Lethal, who got, I mean, Will Ospreay couldn't believe Jay Lethal's music here. He was as stunned as we were. He couldn't believe.
Bro, I thought it was gonna be Double J because you know they like their team up music has like the Lethal shit at the beginning and then they break it down into Double J shit. But when Lethal came out, I was like, oh my god.
Hey, I will say he brought it when he got in there, didn't he? He went for it.
No, he did.
There was a lot here. I think probably the highlight for most people was the Kyle O'Reilly, Will Ospreay stuff, which is one of those matchups where you reminded the AEW roster. So I hadn't even considered this, and here it is, right? And I see Chuck's very fired up already.
You know what I'm not fired up about? The fact that Kyle O'Reilly cut his goddamn hair. Oh my god!
I got to talk about haircuts earlier, so go for it, Charlie. Where are we at on this? Is this a big problem?
It's not necessarily a problem, but I was really heartbroken about it because I was really invested in this haircut. I think it added a lot to his character. And now it's just gone. I was like, all right.
I liked the long hair a lot. Not in a sexual way. I can't relate to Charlie in that manner. However, I think it added a lot to his character as well. Like it was like the new era of Kyle O'Reilly, bro. Because we was really used to the look that he's got right now, and like it being like associated with black and gold, and the end of the Adam Cole feud that left a sour taste in people's mouths with Kyle. Bro, there was a time when people said, "Oh, Kyle O'Reilly, I don't really know," because like the Adam Cole feud wasn't great. Then they had a fucking feud with Von Wagner, and that was like Red Dragon was kind of pretty much dead at that point and stuff because Bobby Fish was washed. But Kyle's fucking back. He had a great run on Collision. He had a great match at Dynasty, and then immediately he's just like, you know what, I'm cutting my fucking hair. Didn't love that decision, but thankfully it wasn't a Samson and Delilah situation. He still has all his strength.
Yeah, he looked pretty good in the match, I was going to say.
He did.
Great, actually.
Don't get me wrong, love Kyle O'Reilly. One of my favourite wrestlers. I think he's pretty underrated, but my god.
You like hair, it's fine.
No, yeah, it was a good look for him.
This is what we do here, folks. We review Dynamite, and we discuss haircuts, and
you know what I found out the other day? WrestlePurists' own Joe Holbrook used to have long ass fucking hair, bro. I had no clue.
Dude, it's even better than that. It's even better than that. I used it for an angle on a fucking wrestling podcast.
You lost the hair for your hair pod?
I did an angle where I got fired from the show. Then the next week they did the show about me for an hour, and I emerged with a hat on and did the reveal like I was shooting an angle at Corrigan, you know. Big pop in the house. I mean, I don't know how many people were there, but it was. If you were there, you remember it was.
Well, you remember that night, man. Oh, Joe's at work, or whether it's 40 people live or it's 400 people live. Joe's gonna give the people a show.
You know it, bro. You know it. All right. Anyway, there was a lot of workers in this match. I thought this was awesome.
Yes.
I want to talk about the direction separately because that stunned me. All of this stunned me as like where they're going with Will. And I mean, I say that positively because I can't wait for this match. But we'll get to that part. But firstly, just the match itself, Chuck, what did you make of this entire Casino Gauntlet?
Right. When they said that it was for the international belt, I was just like, God, I hope that we don't see the usual faces in this and we actually see some international talent. Not in terms of like bringing in people in, but they have a very international roster as it is. And they did really lean into that gimmick and they brought out some really cool people. Like a lot of high flyers, which I feel like with the match setup that they did was a good choice. I think my main takeaway from this, other than Ospreay needs to wrestle everyone in that match individually, because I think they'd all be incredible matches. Maybe we're too down on where Jay White is on the roster, because he came face to face with Ospreay and they got holy shit chance. So maybe it's just an us perception thing.
The people absolutely still see him as a big deal.
Yes.
And I think hopefully that allows them to, if they do need to reheat him, I don't think it's going to take nearly as long as we might.
It's not going to take much at all, bro. It's like I'm joining back the singles division. Cut a fucking Jay White promo. The last Rock and Roller single-handedly sold out Madison Square Garden, and the fucking whatever the fuck else he said. Like, people are like, oh yeah, he switches back.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were almost there with that Derby match, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
but then they fucking dove into the Acclaim shit for 3 months.
Yeah,
which last 2 pay-per-view cycles.
Dude, it was
fucking brutal.
It was insane. It would never end, it felt like. But I would like to shout out in this match, Lance Archer is so great at making the most of his time and stuff like this. So he jumped off and he's not going to get a world title or anything, but whenever they put him on, for the most part, he makes the most of it. Him and Ospreay have great chemistry. What did you make of the very first Casino Gauntlet?
I liked it a lot. Not really a fan of battle royale. I like gauntlet matches, but I don't really like battle royales and fucking scrambles and shit like that. So when I found out AEW was doing a gauntlet match, I was like, "Oh, this is dope." But then it ended up being a scramble match. It's just because in a traditional gauntlet match, you pin the person and then it's like, all right, next up, right? There's not this fucking Royal Rumble aspect. Yeah. But they did that, and then I was wondering if it was elimination, and then they said no, it's first pin wins the match. Oh, okay. So hypothetically, this could have just went on for 130 contestants. You're fucking Usher and Al Serpentico on the back because nobody's got a fucking pin yet. But I do think it's a good. I think it's a good concept. The match fucking rocked. Ospreay looks like a fucking superstar. The face to face, the face to fucking bosom he had with Lance Archer rocked. Excalibur immediately reminded us of their history in New Japan. He took that fucking T. Harrison to those tables, which was awesome. The Jay White and Ospreay stare down was awesome. Reminded me their fucking young boy days when they used to wrestle in Ring of Honor and shit like that. And then fucking the Kyle and Billy exchanges were dope.
Yeah.
Commander continues to be excellent in these multi-man types of matches. Commander's been putting it together, bro. He used to just be a spot guy, but he's been putting it together. He's getting better. I'm a big fan of Commander. He's only fucking 22 too. So it was a really enjoyable match. I think Ospreay going for, I'm not going to say Ospreay going for the international title makes the most sense, but from everything I've been fucking hearing and seeing, it looks like this was going to be the direction, because you listen to fucking we asked AEW what's the all-in main event, and they're like, it's not Ospreay Swerve, it's not Ospreay Swerve, it's not Ospreay Swerve. So it's all right, maybe they're fucking working us. And then you listen to SRS podcast, and he's like, what do you think the main event's going to be? He's like, oh, well, I think Will might do something with the international title. Oh, it's somebody obviously fucking told you something, because you wouldn't say that if that wasn't the case. You wouldn't why would you think that Will is going to be in the main event with the international title? So there's so you put 1 and 2 together, and it's fucking it makes sense. I think him elevating that belt is going to be really good for it. At that point, you have a mid-card division that has fucking Okada with the belt, and then Ospreay with the belt, and then Edge with the belt. Who knows? Yeah, who knows what he's gonna fucking do? It maybe he fucking drops it to a young guy, DG, hopefully. But the mid-card shaping up, bro. There was a time when we was in fucking hell out here, but
I agree. I'm just intrigued, but so what do we think? Do we think Will's match at Wembley is the culmination of the Callis stuff, and he works Takeshita again or something? Or what do we think Because the next question is then like, what do they do at Wembley, right? It's interesting.
I have no clue.
I know what I would book because of him and Pac only have one match, and it went to a time limit draw, and that British crowd kicked the shit out of Rev Pro for that booking. Yeah. So I wouldn't be shocked if Tony Khan ran that match back in Wembley Stadium.
I could see it, yeah. Swerve, what do you think the Swerve match is at Wembley? Hangman?
Probably Hangman.
Yeah. Hangman winning the belt, maybe? Wonder. Because when I thought Hangman Swerve was the Vegas match, my big question was, what do you do as the finish? Because the story has been Hangman hasn't beat him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. They've got my attention in terms of I don't really know what the answer. I think it's also we can't write off MJF, right? MJF could absolutely be in one of those matches.
Scares me.
Then they booked Wrestle Dream Tacoma, Washington.
Which makes me wonder if
so it's like, is it going to be the champ? Is it going to be we're going to get Swerve Danielson there? Are we going to get Swerve Darby there? So
I think it will probably be Swerve Darby at Wrestle Dream.
Because Danielson just said that, like, people get this confused, but Danielson never said he's retiring at all. No. He said he's never going to retire. He just said he's done as a full-time competitor after All In. He said 10, 15 matches a year, which is you would have to assume that Tacoma, Washington, which is in the Seattle Metro, is going to be one of those 10, 15 matches that year. So.
I will say, if Hangman was to win the belt, him wrestling Bryan Danielson for the World Heavyweight title in Tacoma,
that would be fucking amazing. That would be awesome. Heel Hangman versus Bryan Danielson, Tacoma, Washington.
Dude, dynamic flip, that would be unbelievable.
Because that's where he first got booed.
Yeah, after Seattle did him fucking crazy the first time.
And that's like what started. Okay, I'm on board. Yeah.
Yeah. Give Joe the fucking pen.
You can still
don't give Joe the pen because I don't trust him for what he would do with FTR. Let's dial this back. Dial this back for a second.
But you could still give Swerve a huge match in that spot too, right? It's not like he wouldn't be on the show. He'd have a huge match. So, yeah, it will be interesting. I think, it's important we don't gloss over. Can you imagine what Roddy Strong and Will Ospreay are going to do in Vegas? I mean, this thing's going to be... Because Roddy has been wrestling to his role. Like, he's an underneath mid-card champ. I don't think he's going to have to worry about Will Ospreay. I think they're going to go berserk, I'd imagine.
They're going to go fucking crazy. They're going to get 18 minutes, and it's probably going to be match of the night. No offense to anyone else on this card.
No, I'm with you. Yeah, this could... I mean, they wrestled once before, and it was a killer match, and it's 9 years ago now, which is wild.
Yeah, Ospreay is like fucking 120 pounds.
Yeah.
Doing flips for no reason and shit.
It's going to be special. I'm actually, I'm going to have fun with it, and, I had some fun on Twitter earlier about it, but I actually would rather...
Oh, no, continue.
No,
I'll go to it in a second.
All right. So I would actually rather Roddy lose the belt here in a big main event match than lose it in like the 6th most important match on the show with someone else. As a fan, I actually much prefer this. Chuck, what was you going to say, my man?
I was going to talk about the whole neck law thing because they're really leaning into this. Like, he didn't hit the Tiger Driver on O'Reilly, and they talked about it in the segment. It was just like they were just like, yeah, he's got the fucking neck issues. That's what did Brian in on the pay-per-view. Like, I think, like you said, this is going to be a real story thing for them going forward, and it might play into this Roddy match because Roddy's hoping his neck's fucked. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I hope to God that O'Reilly and Ospreay team up to face, like, Roddy and, like, I guess Wardlow at some point. Or you do the O'Reilly, Ospreay, Shibata, like, as a trios against the Undisputed Kingdom. Like, give me all the matches because there's so much you could do here.
I'm hoping Roddy still works, like, a couple more TV matches. Just because, like... we've got a month, right? Like, there's no need for Roddy to do a month's worth promos. Let's do some matches on Collision and Rampage and stuff. So, yeah, that's gonna be it's gonna be spectacular. I can't wait for that.
They're really not shying away from the Ospreay's a fucking idiot in kayfabe thing because, like, when he set him up for the Tiger Driver, he was like, "No, I can't do this." They're like, bro, it's the same exact setup for the Stormbreaker. Just fucking do that. Like, why are you having special prices instead of hitting your finisher? Bro, you should have fucking Stormbreaker.
It was so heavy.
That pops me, but oh my god, no. What do I become?
Yeah. That's where it's like, I wish the conversation was had with a good announcer, where there was faith in the announcers, like, we'll get it. Well, don't worry. Like, you don't have to do it for 5 seconds. Like, if you do it for a second, we'll get it. But honestly, like, let's be real. They may not get it if he doesn't do it that long, right? Like, and it is what it is. But it was very funny. But I like the story. I think you may see Roddy almost like daring Will. You know, like you ain't got the guts to do it, right? Like I can see.
By the way, smokes Roddy with that shit.
Based on how Roddy used to take the Styles Clash, I sincerely hope they don't do it because he might.
Oh my god, bro! He was the only person who fucking spiked himself on purpose. The Styles Clash.
On purpose, yeah. What is the? There's a great AJ interview where he's like, I don't know why he does it. I ask him not to. What a freak!
Right, anyway. With AJ, I just be like, yeah, the finish is the phenomenal forearm, bro. Like, we're not doing this, Rocky. I'm not fucking the fucking person who broke your neck.
Yep. Machines built for grabs, folks. Absolutely.
Do you reckon Roddy's gonna shout "bruv" at him in a promo? The way that he walks into frame is.
Yeah. There was I just reviewed the O'Reilly match from the Pape, and I didn't realize until now that the video package ended with him yelling Kyle. It was like distant, like it was like a horror movie thing.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
It was very funny. Yeah. It was like a serious shot of Roddy's face, and you heard Kyle like echoing. Very, very funny. Chuck, let's catch up on a couple of those super. Let's go for it.
Mavs fan 199. Penta's vibe's so strong, he can coast and get over. He's a made man in terms of that, bro. During picture-in-picture, Penta takes the piss. It's very funny, but it's also like it was funny in this match, but it's so frustrating in singles because it's like
the Copeland match, picture-in-picture for the Copeland match was insane.
That was crazy.
Love Penta.
He's right.
Cannot wait for Phoenix to come back and they team again.
He is over. The way he took the lethal injection was incredible. Like, people joked about how Rock jumped into the Cody car. Penta, like, may as well have got on the top rope. He does pop me, I must say.
He does, yeah.
I love Penta. I wish he was more concerned with working a little bit more pace in the singles.
Yes. Chi-Town Spurs, $5 super chat, thank you. Will Ospreay being as dumb as Goku absolutely pops me.
Ospreay being wrestling Goku is actually a really good comparison. That's funny as fuck.
That's not saying I think Chuck Wright can have great color too, but I'm going to take you.
Not a big anime guy, Joe.
No, I mean I don't know if I've ever really seen anime. I'm a complete novice with the matter. I haven't seen most wrestling at this point out, to be honest with you, mate. I don't get a lot done. A couple movies a week, but nonetheless, I did see this next segment. Chris Jericho here with the new Learning Tree, Titantron thingy, and all that good stuff, and the music, a new song, yes, which I'm told is just like a Fozzy song, but I genuinely thought it was like performance art, but I guess not. Okay, look, I did like 15 minutes on Worldwide about Jericho. I don't think this was as bad as he has been.
No.
I actually don't think it was as close to as bad as some of the Hook segments, which was some of the most uncomfortable things I can recall on TV. Weren't good though, was it, really? I guess that's the best way I can put it. Big Bill's attached to this, which kind of makes me like it less because I like Big Bill. I haven't got much on this, Chuck. Do you?
Jericho has rerun the same storylines and gimmicks in AEW so many times now that we can probably sit here and predict beat by beat how this is going to go. He's going to build himself a faction. The big fucker's going to get pissed off and leave the faction. Then all one by one, they're all going to drift away. And then it'll be rinse and repeat. And it'll probably go about 17 years. I don't like Chris Jericho in 2024, and it's quite unfortunate because I enjoy the fact that Big Bill is getting this TV time in a spot which we should be seeing as a good thing because he's in there with someone that is a legend of the business. But it's Chris Jericho, which is the whole asterisk about it all. And the Learning Tree thing is actively, like, genuinely very off-putting and scares me greatly. I'm happy for Big Bill, though, because, I don't know, who else would you put in this segment? I'm glad it's someone that I like in this segment. Yeah. No, I'm not, actually, because I'd rather not watch it.
I mean, it's gonna get TV time anyway. Like, at least Big Bill's gonna get some matches out of this. Is how I see it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I agree with Joe. It wasn't nearly as bad as some of the Hook stuff. Even the shit that he was doing before Hook, like But I forget who I was saying this with, but Sammy Guevara being in that would be fucking disgusting. It would be like at that point he should just be like, "Yo, release me. Yeah. I'm going to like even if NXT doesn't want me, I'm going to TNA, brother. Like I can't do this anymore." But the issue with Jericho is like, even if you thought the segment was okay, like wrestling's not in a vacuum. So like, you remember all the other shit that you did that was fucking god awful, and you're already rolling your eyes at Chris Jericho being in the ring. Like if he just went away for a little bit and then came back and did this, I think people would be a lot more forgiving of what it was. Because some of the shit was like the irony was pretty funny, even though it's just like, bro, you're trying to be ironic, but your presence here lets us know that you're not actually in on the joke like you think you're in on the joke. Right. Like if you were actually in on the joke, you would have taken a break, brother. Like, but you didn't. But I'm glad it's not fucking like don't have to see fucking Jake Hager matches, I guess. I don't fucking know. Well, who else are we expecting in the learning tree?
They need a tag team.
Oh God, this could go so many different ways.
Who are we expecting in the learning tree?
I will say Jericho? I was concerned when I saw Shane Taylor Promotions beat up Shibata. I was like, oh no.
No.
Please no.
Well, TK knows better than that.
He's gonna poach Griff Garrison and Cole Carter from Maria on fucking Ring of Honor.
I don't know about that, brother. I don't know.
I don't want it. I don't.
No, I'm saying I don't know what the creator. I can see it happening, but
this is where it's unfortunate because like I'm trying to find people I don't want to see. Like it's it's kind of like people are saying teams I like in the chat, and it's like I guess
I could see it being the varsity athletes. I could see him taking Tony Nese and Josh Woods.
Honestly, that would be a good call because it would give them like and they can have they have fun wrestling matches, you know. So that would be. I'd rather that like someone said private party like.
No.
We need to just let private party live and we need to let them live and die on their own merit at this point. Yeah. We cannot attach them to these things.
You can't attach them to any more vets, bro.
Yeah. I don't know. For those of you saying FTR in the chat, I will legitimately not do this show anymore.
I'm not going to stop at FTR. They could definitely learn something from Jericho.
Scratch not this show. You may never see me again. I think if that happens.
Joe's just done with content creation.
My next chapter. But it was. I honestly don't think the segment was terrible. It's just as AO said, it isn't in a vacuum. And speaking of it not being in a vacuum, we're also building to more stuff with Hook and like Hook versus Chris Jericho. Like I don't know. It's just not something I care about. But before we move on, folks, we do hope you're enjoying the show. Please do give us a thumbs up.
Bro, I'm sorry. I don't like Hook, bro. I don't like Hook, bro.
I'm very disappointed by when sometimes I watch him wrestle in longer matches, and I feel like he's the exact same as he was after match one, and that's disappointing. You know,
like they've invested a lot of time in this kid at this point, and then I go back and I think about how much of this time that they've invested in him have I enjoyed. It's not a lot.
Yeah. It was noticeable when I watched the Shane Taylor match because I think Shane is a really good pro. And I didn't think the match was bad, but I was just watching Hook's performance. It's like he's just a long way away, right? He's like a long. And the problem with that is with what his character is, you can't beat him a lot. So it's like, how high do you want to push Hook on this roster? Look at that Casino Gauntlet we were just talking about. It's like, I don't know. I'm very torn on the whole project. I kind of think in some ways, as much as his persona was a smash hit, it kind of set him up to fail as actually like a wrestler. I think he kind of he hasn't had a good chance to just be a normal wrestler. You know, he's like he shows sometimes. But nonetheless,
not that the indie circuit's great, but
Japan too. Japan would be awesome for him.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but speaking of Japan, this was the segment we talked about earlier, Chuck, with Ospreay and Don and the Tiger Driver and all that good stuff. Don Callis, who has to win every verbal duel that he has, by the way. Like, not lost on me how sharp that dude is in that regard. He makes sure, he said, if my guys are not winning tonight, I'm going to make sure I look good burying Carl Fletcher. So, it works the story. I'm being playful, but yeah, it was, he lit Carl up here. So that was the thing we talked about earlier. Then we got to the actual unfortunate thing on the night, because this is this is just bad luck and it really bummed me out. John Moxley and Powerhouse Hobbs. This match was not trending to be great by any means, and I actually think it was pretty disappointing before Will got hurt. But I have no real interest on dwelling on that, because my only takeaway is just like, fuck. Every time it feels like Will gets any momentum, he's creative, either gets pulled, or this is the first time I believe he's got hurt. I just feel really bad for him. Again, I didn't think much of the match, but like, he got hurt, 10 minutes, and you could tell he just couldn't get up barely. So they got to a finish, but this was a real shame, Chuck. This was unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about the match, because it's like, I would feel bad sitting here and being like, well, I didn't really enjoy like the way that it started out when that happened. Right. So it's like, I just hope that Hobbs isn't too severely injured, and maybe they can come back to it in the future and they can have the match that we were hoping for. It probably won't be for the IWGP belt at that point, but I'm glad that Hobbs was in this position, because of this. He's the sort of talent that does deserve opportunities like this. I just wish that it went better for him.
He's looked great this year.
Yeah,
really,
absolutely.
There's a guy I think you can say, and he's actually much deeper in his career than I think people realize. We've talked about this before, but he's improved a lot. Again, this match didn't necessarily showcase that, but it's like, I was super bummed out for him, because it felt like he was finally getting kind of in a rhythm and some momentum. What did you make of this? Again, it feels weird in talk about the match, but what did you make of this whole deal?
It's really fucking unfortunate. I like Hooks. I like Hobbs a lot. Friend of the brand. I was excited for him to get this match. I feel like he earned it. He's been killing it this year. The tag matches he's had with Fletcher have been especially great in my opinion. And then he goes out there. I didn't really love their approach to the match. Like you said, it wasn't trending to be great, but then he just fucking smokes his knee. Hopefully it's not serious. I just felt bad, because like, I was really invested in this. Like, other than being a fan and knowing somebody who supports WrestlePurists and stuff, it's just like he got a lot of shit for no reason because of this. Some of it is just like anti-AEW Griffiths, whatever. Who gives a fuck about that, right? But then the fucking the New Japan only guys fucking getting on it and shit, just give them shit, and then people who just clearly fucking racist just get in and give them shit, and like talking about the prestige of the title and shit. Let's get to the last challengers, right? We have Mox, who won it off Naito. Then we have Yota Tsuji, who is a really good young talent, but he's still trying to get there, right? Then we have fucking Sonata challenging again after he lost it to Naito, and then you go to 2023. You got fucking Evil, like you have fucking like Jack Perry challenged for it when he was just fucking like Jungle Boy or whatever, like. This is not like, what the fuck are you guys talking about, bro? Like, it was the mid-card of Forbidden Door last year. You guys acting like it's the fucking IWGP heavyweight title V4 and shit. Like, it's okay. It's all right, guys. But so I was really invested that Hobbs would go out there and prove him wrong, and unfortunately, he didn't have the opportunity to do that. Hopefully, it's nothing serious. We'll see him soon. Just hopefully a shitty situation.
Yeah, it sucks. It really does. It's unique to the way he got hurt, it looked like, right? It was like kind of a strange one. So hopefully it's one of those deals where it was like he banged his knee and hurt it really bad, and that was the match, but it's not a serious injury. We have heard nothing yet, from what I understand, which I don't know whether that is good or bad news. We all just hope for the best. A real shame, certainly. Not great news here next either. Next week, Katsuyori Shibata is wrestling Chris Jericho, which sounds alarming. And much less serious news, but it's not exactly really.
We missed the Takeshita coming out onto the ramp.
We did.
Oh, yeah.
Good call.
When you started talking about not good news, I was just like, wait, what?
No, absolutely not. Especially with how Takeshita was looking here. My God.
Yeah.
My God. Chuck, take it away.
There are things that I cannot say on this channel. Takeshita looks like a phenomenal wrestler. He is a phenomenal wrestler, don't get me wrong. I'm excited for this match. I have a lot of thoughts about this Jon Moxley title run, and my main takeaway is it makes it exciting for Forbidden Door because of the first show. It was the whole novelty of it. It was the first time something like that was happening. The second show was built around dream matches. What the fuck was going to be the third show? The tension between the companies. They're actually doing something with it. But regardless of that, Takeshita being the next challenger, I'm all in on this. And Moxie, the whole thing in Japan right now is that they're like raising stock of the young guys. Why wouldn't you do that in the US as well with AEW? Mm-hmm. Which is why it was great that Hobbs was in this position. I heard AO talking about the shit he got, really fucking stupid. But yeah, I think this match is going to be great. That there was several points in there, none of which they're all loosely connected, but you get it.
I gotta be honest. I think you peaked with when you said he looks like a really great wrestler. Like, he was,
look at him! Is he really?
Like he had one as like the casual fan or something. You know, like he looks great.
I had to formulate something that wouldn't get taken off air.
It was fitting on a professional wrestling podcast.
Respect.
A real pro. When do you think this? Do you think that's Vegas? Takeshita and Mox? What do you reckon?
I think you have to do that Vegas. I gotta check the New Japan dates. I don't even know if Mox can make the show at this point. But I think you have to do that in Vegas. This would be their third or fourth. Their third match together. They had one on Dynamite, which was great. They had one on Rampage that was even fucking better. These two haven't missed with each other so far. Yeah. I would eventually want Takeshita to get the win, but that's clearly not happening here. It's very interesting the politics of it all too, because Takeshita being a DDT guy, there were New Japan guys tweeting about it last night. I know Shingo and Takeshita had a little exchange. It's cool to see, bro. Like, it's cool to see how AEW, like, for better, like, no matter what you fucking think about AEW, right, and the creative shit, seeing how it brings together like the greater wrestling world is dope.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
yeah, absolutely. I wish that was the norm, right? It's a shame it's been such an outlier for something. I think it's awesome. So I agree completely. Chuck, I see we have a couple super chats. We'll get to those for our main event. And what a main event is, folks.
Right. Black Yakuzu 94 $2 super chat. New running gag: Jericho gets a faction every year. Please God no.
I mean, we're pretty much trending that way, right? So
I mean, yeah.
I have no doubt we'll need another one by next year. We'll see.
What fucking dumb stipulation match is he gonna have this year? Because we can't do a shark cage again.
Well, he might. That was a moment in time, wasn't it? Thank God I wasn't doing Dynamite reviews then.
I don't think I was either.
I need to go back and watch that match, but I don't remember any of it.
I remember that Menard not being able to unlock the gate.
I don't remember any of that match.
There are sections of the barbed wire part that are fun because they're both crazy, so they both take some like cool bumps, but it ended.
I remember the absolute meltdown that was on Twitter after Eddie lost.
It was very drastic night.
It was.
Yeah, these things happen, folks. All right, there you
go. Anjan PN, another $2 super chat. Thank you. When I'm Purist gang up on Monty like TK in brackets joke. Commit to the bit, brother.
I'm unfortunate that you don't think that this is how we regularly treat Monty. Like, what happened to TK yesterday was new to TK. It's not new to Montgomery. Like, we're regularly giving that man swirlies, bro. Like, it's unfortunate, but sometimes the boss gets out of line. You gotta put him in line, bro. It is what it is.
I've heard that. I have, yeah. I've heard it.
Many are saying.
Indeed. All right, folks. We appreciate the super chats throughout the night, and final call, I guess, on that front, right? As we get into the main event segment. All right, here we go. Tony Schiavone was in the ring. He brought out Jack Perry, who kind of flirted with like a rah-rah babyface speech, sort of, right? Talking about Jacksonville and change the world, and then he brought out Tony Khan, and he sort of continued in that direction, and said all he ever wanted was, to help AEW, make AEW better, whatever the phrasing was. And immediately have to note that Tony Khan is already funny in this segment. Like, he's really done nothing other than stand there. But when Jack said the thing about AEW, Tony like beat his chest and clapped, which was incredible. They shook hands and hugged. At this point, I'm not sure anyone in the world believed that Jack was being sincere, but
No.
Jack, to make it even more apparent, Jack looked at the camera and smiled, which is like his new thing, right? Is the smile down the camera. At this point, you're waiting to see what he's going to do, right? Now, I'm thinking maybe, it's kind of dumb of me looking back, but I thought he was going to do the old got the hand, the short arm clothesline deal.
Yeah.
Because you can do those, like, it wouldn't have to hit him in the head, right? It would be like, in the chest, and I thought that was what he's going to do. Instead, he hits Tony with a body shot with the microphone. And Tony takes...
jab to the ribs with the fucking mic.
Tony takes, like, a parachute bump. But the funnier part than the bump was he sold it like he'd been shot.
Mm-hmm.
And then he remembered, wait, that was a body punch. I can like move and stuff. So he started rolling. And then the Elite came out and they were hysterical here. Okay, the Bucks were like, he's a billionaire, it's the boss. They were saying all these things. And Okada again manages to be the funniest part of these without really saying or doing anything. He's watching on as this unfolds. Then they had the visual tease of the EVP trigger, like they did with Shivani a couple of weeks ago. They had that tease. That was not the case, and instead it would be the new name is the TK driver, right? Is it the new?
Yes.
Yeah, which tremendous. Looking back, that was what they did.
Yes.
The TK driver, and I believe the final words from Matt was we're gonna change the world, or Matthew, I should say, we're gonna change the world. Right? It was kind of they kind of took over the show, hit close, and then afterwards. I was going to say the roster, but a collection of baby faces emerged in the ring, as well as Shad Khan, who really, in many ways, stole the show. Now, folks, it's very important to me as the host that I don't take up too much of your time here. I tried to recap the segment. I missed 1,000,001 details and things that were very funny and very important all along the way. I tried my best. Chuck, what an insane, unhinged way to close Dynamite. What did you think of this?
This might be the funniest thing that has ever happened on AEW TV. Yeah. And I just, from start to finish, I was like, I don't quite know what's going to happen next. I burst out laughing when TK took that first bump because he genuinely sold it like he'd been fucking concussed.
He may have been after the bump.
He hit the mat, and for like a solid 3 seconds, there was nothing. But and the Bucks overplay everything in the best way, like with their characters. Like it all fits their characters perfectly. Like Okada doing the thumbs up as they've got TK up, but the TK driver.
And he did like the Scott Hall. He did this one.
Oh my god, segment of the fucking year.
He's the funniest part of all of it.
Nicholas split his trousers on the fucking move, which is fucking hilarious. Yeah. And oh my god, Carly Bravo's face when he realised who he was.
What about Penta? Penta to
Why he look like he's seen a fucking ghost?
I promise I'll talk about the ramifications in a minute, but
sure, but there's so much, yeah.
You can't not talk about how fucking funny it was. Because of this, I don't think, in a nutshell, this segment's like the most important thing ever. The follow-up is. But as a way to close Dynamite, my god. Yeah. I just think it's probably worth paying attention to who actually was in the ring afterwards, because it's probably gonna give us some ideas of some of the matches the Elite might wrestle, because like these guys are on the boss's side. We're gonna have to sort that sort of thing out. And I think it says a lot that Dante was the first one in the ring about challenges for the Bucks. But doing this segment in Daily's place is kind of a stroke of genius, is it not? Because it really is the heart and soul of AEW.
Yeah.
And
absolutely agree.
Yeah. But there's going to be a lot of story ramifications. I think that this could quite possibly be how they build a lot of their stories for the Elite for the next year. Not necessarily like dramatic angles like this, but like off of this angle and who was there and who didn't make an appearance, and like Kenny being back next week, like what's he going to say about it? There's a lot here, and I promise I will have more thoughts about it at some point, but it's right now, I can't watch it without laughing.
It's a lot, and I agree with you completely. And before we get, because we'll get more into kind of the next step in a moment, but I do think it's important, which is it does have to be as significant as you just mentioned, Chuck. Like, this cannot just be a thing that just becomes part of the show. Like, they just wiped out Tony Khan to close the show at Daily's Place. Next week, this should be like game changer stuff. This should be, next week's whole TV should be like, what the fuck happened here last week?
So, like they need to sell really this like they just did the worst fucking thing imaginable.
It cannot be a thing that gets brushed off. It can't be its own segment. Every babyface should feel a certain way about it. So there's, again, we'll get to that kind of part of it in a second, but I want to give you a chance to talk on this segment because clearly there's a lot to talk about with it. So go for it, mate.
just what? How long was it? Like just 5 to 10 minutes of the greatest wrestling television that's ever been produced in the history of wrestling TV. The Elite, you know, they've been out here. They've been running a business. Started it. It was just the two of them. It was just the two of them. Matthew and Nicholas Jackson created AEW from the ground up. Created the multi-billion-dollar conglomerate that it is today. They look around, bro. They look around and they just see buffoonery going on. My GOAT Kenny Omega just skipping dates for no reason. Who knows what the fuck he's got going on? And then you got Tony Khan just fucking just stroking CM Punk's shaft to the demise of AEW, and they decided enough was enough. They decided that they was going to fix the dub, and honestly, they should have gave him that Meltzer / TK driver years ago. They should have gave it to him in 2021, but they showed him grace. They allowed him to right the ship, and he just didn't do it. So they did what they needed to do. Okada just laughing and fucking pointing and thumbs upping in the back was absolutely fucking hilarious. I never in a million years thought that he'd be this good of a TV character, but he's knocked it out of the fucking park. The babyfaces rushing out was fucking hilarious. I was like, oh my god, what are you doing? What are you guys doing? And then just the fucking looks of concern that they had. Like somebody like took a picture and like just zoomed in on all of their faces, and it was hilarious, bro. And I don't think any of us was expecting to see Shad Khan the night before the draft helping his son sell a fucking injury angle on Wednesday Night Dynamite. But you know, this is the kind of TV that our EVPs bring us. This is the type of TV that I love the segment. I thought it was hilarious.
I remember this segment in entirety for a long time, but the Shad Khan part, I genuinely will never ever forget. Like the way that he emerged to among all of these like underneath wrestlers was just it was incredible. Okay, so beyond this being hilarious, I'm going to be completely honest. I actually don't know how I feel about it until I see what happens next. You know, that's genuinely where I'm at.
Same.
The big thing to me, and I think we can all agree on this. Tony needs to have been a plot device to get to what's next. He cannot be the story.
No, not at all.
Tony cannot be a recurring character who now seeks revenge. Like, be very careful with that. The other thing I would say is, go for it, Chuck. Go for this, because that's like a key thing in itself. Go for it.
Yeah. It's like so many of the wrestlers, their whole thing is like, Tony Khan saved my life by giving me this job. So I think there is so much they can do with literally like the outpouring of baby faces anyways. It's like there's so many wrestlers that could feasibly say, without this man, I would not be where I am in this business. I want to beat you up because of what you did. And it's such easy booking because the Elite have chemistry, like all the members of the Elite. They pretty much have chemistry with 90% of the roster.
Eddie Kingston has cut that same exact promo a number of times.
He should be.
And him and the Bucks have fantastic fucking chemistry.
Yes.
So him getting another tag team title shot against them would be great.
I agree.
The one thing I would say is, I think you'd be smart to focus more on AEW than Tony personally. Now, you have to focus on Tony a little bit, right? Because he's the one who just got laid out. But I think the babyface should come up from more of an angle of like, these guys are fucking with the place that I wrestle at, the place that I'm passionate about. The only reason I say that is Eddie Kingston's good enough to cut a pro Tony Khan promo and come across good.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the boys would struggle with that.
No.
They would come across like guys you don't want to cheer. So that's like a nuanced thing. In the same vein, if the direction is the Elite now run the show and they're going to be like kind of overarching across the show, almost NWO-esque, to use that comparison, you have to kind of strike that perfect balance, right? Where it is overarching and it isn't just one thing on the show because that's a waste. But you also don't want it to become like exhausting. We on our heel promotion.
Yeah.
The NWO comparison is the one I use because that balance was what they struggled with. Eventually, they veered and lost their minds. So we say all this to say it's a big angle, and they needed a big angle coming out of the pay-per-view. It's a hook. We're intrigued what's next week going to be. But I honestly do think the review this week is like, for this segment, is irrelevant because it's like, what do they do next? How big does it feel next Thursday? Yeah, that's exactly. And that's where kind of this format is challenging anyway. But look, we all had fun with it. I actually do appreciate they did a big angle because that's not something AEW generally has done, right? So the big thing is that next step. So yeah, anything else on the closing angle? Because I know there was like a million things, and I've talked to it.
I have faith that the Bucks are gonna have the boys sell this the right way because immediately after attacking Sting, they didn't even wait for the next Dynamite. Immediately on Collision, they had Cope go out there and say, "Oh my God, this is fucking disgusting. Fuck the Young Bucks." They had Kingston go out there and say the same thing in a promo. And I believe there was one more person. In that case, that did carry over into Dynamite as well. And the Bucks were like, "Yo, we hear y'all talking shit." And then so I feel like they're not gonna just let this heat that they got just go to waste, and they're gonna make sure that the boys know to address this in their promos, the baby faces.
Yeah.
So I'm feel good about this.
It's super important, right? Like someone mentioned it on Twitter last night. It's a great point. This is a card you can only play once, right? Like Tony had never got physical. You played the card, make the most of it. Like there's no point in it just being another angle on the show. So I'm really intrigued.
There's a reason for this question. Do we know how bad Darby's injury was?
I saw someone say something about 2 months, but I have no clue. If that's been confirmed or. I mean, he's perfect.
Team Elite versus Team AEW in a blood and guts match could be special.
I think that's where we're going. I think that's Anarchy and Blood and Guts. I think. I think DGFTR might be some of the guys initially because they're like already against them, right? Yeah. Eddie Kingston feels like a natural. Darby Allin feels like the ultimate. Like he should probably be the guy who gets the job done, right?
I can see Mark Briscoe being involved in this as well.
He's attached to both Eddie and FTR and all that. Yeah, so I think. I mean, looking at the talent we just talked about, if you put together an Anarchy in the Arena match from that lineup, somehow, I mean, the potential there is immense, right?
Ooh.
It feels like someone brought up Max. It feels like Max should actually come back as Team AEW and then completely fuck them over. To be honest with you,
Max coming back for Team AEW.
He should be a heel. Yeah.
He should not be in the Elite.
Yeah, he shouldn't be in the Elite, but he should agree with their view on saving AEW.
Tom, bro.
Yeah. So we're having this conversation, which immediately tells you that's why you need these angles, right? Because it's like, what are they going to do? You need that. So I'm intrigued. I think that about covers it, right, guys? Anything else in the closing segment?
I think we're all set.
All right, wonderful. Chuck, let's go through these final super chats and we'll go on out of here.
Mavs fan 84-199. The real tension of Forbidden Door. Who will Okada work? And in brackets, Berry. Lol, love that. This is something I've actually thought about quite a lot because there's now 3 guys on the roster that used to play for the other team. Who are they going to work? And Okada is the most interesting one because you try and lean into that whole work with the young guys thing. Are they going to do an Elite trios or format, 8-man tag like they have in the previous 2 years? I don't know. There's potential.
I think so. I think it will be big multi-man, I think. Because especially with what his creative is right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
I don't think they'll
CMLL is going to be involved in Forbidden Door this year as well, so
yeah,
he's always up. He might work fucking Mystico and Masquerader. I don't think he's going to work Mystico because like CMLL is not going to want Mystico beat, and AEW is obviously not going to want Okada beat. But like Masquerader, he's a fucking phenomenal under guy.
Yes.
I feel like that would be a really good pay-per-view match.
That would kind of be perfect, like because ideally Dorado gets a huge spotlight. It doesn't necessarily win, but a spotlight, right? That match would do that. So yeah, that would be a good one.
I do agree. It's a good shout. Black Yakuzu 94 $5 super chat. I don't ever want to read that AEW can't do sports entertainment well after that segment. That shit was pure comedy in the best way. I loved it.
Agreed.
Yeah, I saw a lot of positivity about the segment. Like, it got good reviews out the gate. So I'm like, we had fun with it. And again, next step, right? It's gonna be fascinating.
Shy-Town Spurs $2 super chat. The Elite stabbed Caesar. Long live the Republic. Oh my god.
Incredible super chat.
That is a very funny super chat.
Shout out to Shy-Town Spurs.
Absolutely.
Friend of the channel. Big spoil. We appreciate it. Dimmaz $5 super chat. Thinking the Attack on TK sets up the Elite versus Team AEW for either Anarchy in the Arena or a Blood and Guts match, maybe both. Yeah, we agree.
Very Holbert House show there, in which he commented that before we got to it, and then we appreciate the super chat. Absolutely, yeah. British, as it happens.
Yes.
Folks, this was great. It was great to be back here on the Dynamite Review. We got the Fleet Free, as we're known around here. Shirts coming soon, I'm sure, no doubt. So it was great to be back. We hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please do like the video, subscribe, and also, if you can, as soon as we end this show, which is going to be a mere seconds here, just wait a minute, comment below. You could comment anything. You could say, I like the WCW hat. You could say, wow, Joe sends weird DMs to AO. You could say, Charlie was right about Kyle O'Reilly's haircut. You can say any of those things or something else. It's up to you. But please do comment something. It helps the channel. And with that, have a wonderful evening. And we're out. If someone can hit the outro, we're out here. Have a good one, folks.
Oh, Charlie didn't have the outro set.